It's Tuesday, November 10. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. The Meteorological Service has discontinued the flash flood warning for low-lying and flood-prone areas of all parishes, effective immediately. The induced trough across Jamaica associated with Tropical Storm Eta has weakened as the storm moves further away from Jamaica. Satellite imagery and rainfall data indicate that only periods of light showers occurred across sections of western parishes throughout Monday. As the trough lingers, projections are for the atmosphere to become more stable, and as a result, a gradual return to near normal conditions is expected through to midweek. The forecast is for partly cloudy conditions tonight and tomorrow morning, with afternoon showers and possible isolated thunderstorms mainly across hilly inland areas and sections of southern parishes. The Meteorological Service will continue to monitor the situation. Heavy rains from weather system Eta has left in its wake billions of dollars in flood damages. While the government grapples with the budgetary response to this disaster, at the community level, hundreds of citizens are now left to mop up after hours of torrential rains pounded the island over the weekend. On Sunday, the Chalky River burst its bank, triggering landslides and leaving several communities across the eastern section of the island flooded. Our news team visited citizens as they began their cleanup efforts.
Communities in 9 Miles Bull Bay besieged by flooding have begun the big cleanup exercise. They are in a race against Mother Nature as the forecast is for more rains by the weekend. Some did not know where to begin and looked at the devastation caused. Others just started digging on Wees Road, where homes and the streets were flooded during torrential rains. Given the scale of the damage to their homes and community infrastructure, including roads, residents are calling for financial support woven with concerted, integrated and decisive action from the government.
My name is Victoria Johnson. I have been flooded out. I don't see nothing.
We lose a lot of things, brand new things. See there? Blender brand new mash up, rice cooker, everything we're in here mash up. Mashing machine, whirlpool this up, regular little small machine mash up, bed flood out, everything. See it there? Surround, some box flood out.
This is actually inside the house of one of the residents. Over 2 feet of water. It's covered under more than 2 feet of water because I'm now standing in ankle height water. Water is above my ankle at this moment inside this house. This is the church in the community. All of the water is going inside here now.
The flooding in Wees Road brought the community together, but they are appealing for more to be done by the relevant authorities.
I guess I'm asking for help. I'm asking for help.
As efforts to clear up the devastation continue, the question being asked repeatedly is why? There are many factors which can cause a community to flood, including prolonged heavy localized rainfall. Often the natural landscape and human interactions increase the risks. The recent flooding in the parishes of St. Thomas and St. Mary, as well as the land slippages in rural St. Andrew, highlights the need to continue investment in flood defenses and measures to tackle climate change. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Carol Francis.
$100 million. That's the estimated loss handed to coffee industry in Jamaica by heavy rains brought on by Tropical Storm Eta. The Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association President Norman Grant says the rains have left a crippling effect on the sector's infrastructure.
Which represents berries falling from trees, So the farmers have lost those. Trees that has been lost due to land slippages, the increase in the operating costs for the farmers to get to their farms and also to get to the factories because of black roads, spoilage of coffee, all of these has amounted to significant losses for the coffee farmers.
Mr. Grant says the JCEA has met with Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Floyd Green and plans were laid to implement a program to aid coffee farmers in need. The need for assistance has been escalated with the recent rains.
A couple of weeks ago, we met with the minister and he committed $80 million for an input program, which the JCEA, the Jamaica Coffee Exporters Association, recommended $200 million. Right after this rain, we will ask the ministry through JACRA to expedite the program. But I want to state it for the records that this weekend's rain has certainly extended the damage, and I would not be surprised to see after evaluation, when all of this is settled, that this could move from $100 million to over $200 million.
The new board of the Sugar Industry Authority will navigate the new phase of sugar production and marketing in Jamaica. The new appointees will be announced by the end of November. Speaking at a Jamaica Association of Sugar Technologists conference recently, Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Floyd Green said the role of the SIA will be the utilization of more science and technology to propel the sugar industry forward. The SIA was established in 1970 to oversee the 300-year-old sugar industry. Jamaica's human rights record will be examined by the UN Human Rights Council's Universal Periodic Review Working Group on Wednesday, November 11, 2020. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith, will lead the Jamaican delegation responses to the review, which will be webcast live. It is the third time Jamaica's human rights records are being examined since November 2010. The reviews are based in part on reports submitted by the Jamaican government, which outlines progress made by the Jamaican as a country since the first review in 2010. The review also examines reports from independent human rights experts and groups and national human rights institutions and civil society groups. St. Andrew South Member of Parliament Mark Golding has been sworn in as the 6th President of the People's National Party. The event took place at a small ceremony at King's House. On Saturday, Mr. Golding was elected to serve as president of the 82-year-old political party after beating his contender, Lisa Hanna, by 296 votes. Mr. Golding is replacing soon-to-be retired MP Dr. Peter Phillips. United States Ambassador to Jamaica Donald Tapia has reportedly fallen ill and has been admitted to the Tony Thwaites wing of the University Hospital of the West Indies. He was admitted early Tuesday morning. It's understood that Ambassador Tapia fell ill on Monday after suffering from a nosebleed. Ambassador Tapia is expected to be transported to the United States via a medical ambulance for more treatment. Tapia was appointed ambassador to Jamaica in July 2019. Here in Jamaica, the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic continues in earnest. Here are the latest figures courtesy of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
3 COVID-19 deaths were recorded on Monday. The deceased are an 87-year-old female from Hanover, an 87-year-old female from St. Catherine, and a 90-year-old female also from St. Catherine. The death of the 90-year-old female was previously under investigation. Jamaica's COVID-19 death toll now stands at 224. Also, 31 new cases were reported over the last 24 hours. This brings the total positives to 9,573, of which 4,234 are active cases. 35 persons have recovered from the virus, bringing that tally to 4,987. 19 patients are moderately ill and 5 are critical at this time. A total of 75 infected persons are currently in hospital. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
Scientists across the globe have been tracking a mutated strain of COVID-19 that has emerged in Denmark and have linked it to mink farms. The animals were culled in response. The mutated virus, which reported have spread from animals to humans in Denmark, has been detected retrospectively at the mink farm in the Netherlands, and that's according to Dutch leading experts. Other countries with reported coronavirus outbreaks at mink farms include Denmark, Spain, Sweden, Italy, and the United States. Even as the world inches closer to a vaccine, the implication of a COVID-19 mutation is worrisome. The question came up at a recent WHO press conference.
This is a global pandemic and many millions of people are infected and many millions of animals have been exposed, and we've seen different types of animals who've been themselves infected with this virus, and there's always a potential that the virus can then come back to humans. And that is a concern because mammal species like mink are very good hosts in a sense, and the virus can evolve within those species, especially if they're large numbers packed closely together. So in that sense, we have to look at that viral evolution. We have to create the biosecurity around farms like that so that there's not that contact back with human populations.
It's too early to really jump to conclusions as to the implications of what these specific mutations have, either for transmission or for the severity of the disease, clinical presentation, or indeed for the immune response and potentially vaccine efficacy. So I think so far we've been tracking these mutations. As you know, we have over 170,000 whole genome sequences now in GISAID, and there's scientific work going on around the world, and WHO is leading a group as well that's looking. It's a group of evolutionary biologists and experts on bioinformatics that's constantly tracking these changes and mutations that are happening, and we've seen plenty of them. So I think we need to wait.
Time now for a look at the latest market shifts and movements with the Business Report. Our host, Gabriel Thompson.
In Monday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 6,311 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 82 stocks, of which 33 advanced, 32 declined, and 17 traded firm. The junior market index declined by 8 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for Access Financial Services, AMG Packaging and Paper Company, and Burrito Investments Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Students Living Jamaica, Berger Paints Jamaica, and Cargo Handlers Limited. Trading firm were Blue Power Group Limited, Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, and Derrimon Trading Company. Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares was the volume leader with 3 million units, followed by Sagicor Group Jamaica Limited with 2.6 million units, and QWI Investments Limited with 2.6 million units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Monday, November 9, ended trading at $148.75. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $114.30. The pound sterling traded for $194.28, and the euro ended trading at $178.69. Oil prices rose on Tuesday as hopes that a COVID-19 vaccine could be on the horizon outweighed the expected negative impact on fuel demand of new lockdowns to curb the virus. Brent crude futures gained 34 cents to $42.74 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 20 cents to $40.49 a barrel. And that does it for this edition of the Business Report on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
In regional news, while not opposed to Sister Islands, a citizenship by investment program, the newly re-elected Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, maintains that his country will not involve itself in what he calls, quote, the sale of passports, end quote. Senior political correspondent Miguel Fever has more from Friday's interview with the head of the government.
Trinidad is not selling. Trinidad is not selling. Jamaica is not selling. The best of my knowledge, information and belief, the Bahamas is not selling. Those who want to go proceed on that road go ahead. I'm unalterably opposed to it.
But Dr. Ralph Gonsalves will not criticize those who have implemented the program, he says, like St. Lucia, Dominica, Antigua, and other sister OECS nations. Neither will he condemn their respective leaders. On the CIP, St. Vincent's Prime Minister has been consistent, famously quoted as saying in 2018 that a passport is, quote, not a commodity for sale, and the passport is the outward sign of the inward grace of citizenship, and that too is not for sale, end quote. Last Friday, he told NBC Prime in his opinion, it is wrong both in principle and in practice.
This thing called good deals, legitimate foreign investment, is going to put extra pressure on the corresponding banking relations. It's not sustainable, and it could be wiped out overnight. It adds to the vulnerability which we already have due to our small size, our islandness, the climate change, certain historical legacies. I'm not going to add additional burdens to those. I opt for hard and smart work. But of course, some may wish to continue with it. Well, that's for their people and their country, their populations to make that judgment call. As to me, no.
And while we discuss the apparent differences between CARICOM nations over the viability of a citizenship by investment program, we quizzed the St. Vincent Prime Minister about the COVID-19 related differences in the region, more specifically the CARICOM travel bubble, which was agreed upon, but now has to be revisited due to the astronomical increase in positive cases among member states, including St. Lucia, who has now surpassed a century not out.
We accept them, but we have never closed our borders. But we have restrictions.
Okay. And would you say that your restrictions are a lot more stringent than what you see around in your immediate vicinity?
In some respects, and in others, no. I mean, remember, we never locked down, we never had a state of emergency, we never had a curfew, we never used draconian Chinese methods that some have called for. None of those things we have done. With a patience and a calm, we dealt with this matter by having a buy-in from the public and appropriate restrictions and protocols.
And good old-fashioned, quote, boots-on-the-ground epidemiology, Gonsalves ends, with the deployment of additional doctors and nurses traversing SVG, conducting contact tracing, among other things. Miguel Favre, NBC Prime.
Some people may think that the henna business is not suited during a pandemic due to the close proximity needed for application. One business in Trinidad and Tobago is proving this to be false.
COVID-19 pandemic is causing a lot of businesses to either fold up or innovate. One business that chose to innovate was Henna Trinidad. Business owner Risa Ragunanan Mohammed explains that the rug was pulled from beneath her feet by COVID.
I had to find ways around and also to cope with the pandemic that is happening right now. And also too, with the announcement of the cancellation of Diwali Nagar 2020, it was extremely heartbreaking for a lot of us because as henna artists, we look forward to this event every single year. And us, Henna Trinidad, being at the Diwali Nagar for the past 10 years and then not having the Diwali Nagar this year, it felt as though someone actually took the flooring from below your feet. So because you've been so accustomed to doing this every single year and the build up, the vibe and everything that came with prepping for the Diwali Nagar was not here this year.
She notes that it was a major loss for artists this year. Ms. Ragunanan Mohammed said she's now riding the trends of innovation.
This idea came up when I actually am part of a subscription box as well. And I decided if people can't come to us, if people are reluctant to come or have a henna artist visit them, we came up with a box that included everything that you need in order for you to do the henna at your home, at your convenience as well. And this box was actually delivered to everyone. So we had numerous boxes going out this week. We've been getting a wonderful feedback from it. And the boxes are not for people who actually, not only for people who can do henna, but the boxes are for people who have difficulty with even drawing something simple.
The boxes come with henna stencils for those who are artistically challenged. She hopes other businesses can innovate since the game now is about survival of the fittest and the quickest to adapt to the pandemic.
There are online marketplaces that allow you to ply your trade or even sell your products online and have them delivered straight to your door. And one of our collaborations was with My Go-To List Marketplace, and we have worked with them, and they have been sending out numerous packages on our behalf. So we actually accepted orders via phone, via email, and they also through their online store. And that is how it is that we actually got around it. So even though it is that the sales were not as good, we still managed to get our products to our clients anyhow.
Charlene Lewis, TTT News.
The St. Lucia Marketing Board has signed new contracts with 20 farmers. The deal is expected to provide a greater level of security for the farmers. Anicia Antoine of the Ministry of Agriculture reports.
The Department of Agriculture, St. Lucia Marketing Board, and the Taiwan Technical Mission has entered into a contractual agreement with a core of farmers in an effort to ensure a consistent supply of produce throughout the year. The purchase agreement will strengthen ties between the St. Lucia Marketing Board and local farmers, thereby enhancing the marketing strategy of produce from the farming community. Under the agreement, the 20 chosen farmers are required to supply a variety of crops, including the 7 crops under the enhancement of the efficiency of production distribution supply chain in the fruits and vegetable sector project, more widely known as the 7 Crops Project. Operations Manager of the St. Lucia Marketing Board, Teresa Daisy, explains that this initiative is in keeping with the mandate of the Marketing Board to support farmers extensively throughout the island.
Those farmers will be issued a 6-month contract in the initial stage, and at the end of the contract, they will be issued some incentives in the form of fertilizer and ground cover. Now, to qualify for these incentives, farmers must sell an amount no less than 5,000 worth of produce to the Marketing Board. After the 6-month contract comes to an end, the contract will be extended, providing farmers complete and adhere to the contract. Now, those farmers here will be viewed as living testimonies to other farmers, because we intend to extend the contract to other farmers who will be signing the contracts today.
Ambassador of the Republic of China Taiwan to St. Lucia, His Excellency Peter Shen, says the purchase agreement between the St. Lucia Marketing Board and the farmers marks a new milestone for the development of St. Lucia's agricultural sector.
It is very encouraging to learn that about 15 farmers will sign a contract with St. Lucia Marketing Board today. And I'm looking forward to see more farmers participating in the near future. Taiwan will continue to work with the government of St. Lucia to promote precision agriculture, smart agriculture, and achieve 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries, Physical Planning, Natural Resources and Cooperatives, Honorable Ezekiel Joseph, encourages the farmers to honor their contractual agreements to ensure the success of the pilot project.
Do not enter into a contractual arrangement with the St. Lucia Marketing Board, and we agree that you're going to sell whatever crop at a certain price, and some person, individual, some middleman will come to you and say, I give you 25 cents more. And you will say, look, I am selling to that middleman because I get 25 cents more. That would create problems for the program. Because the same way St. Lucia, the Marketing Board, is expecting you to produce and to bring in the products, the same way they will enter into arrangements with supermarkets to be able to supply the products. So on both sides, we have to be committed.
The Minister for Agriculture continues to reaffirm the government's commitment to enable a thriving agricultural economy in St. Lucia. From the Information Unit at the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
In sports, we bowl off with cricket. Some are of the view that the West Indies team currently on tour in New Zealand lacks firepower, as it's missing big guns such as Chris Gayle and Andre Russell. However, promising all-rounder Rovman Powell still believes there is great depth and ability in the current group to muscle the ball over the ropes and present a challenge to the hosts. We get more in this Newsroom Guyana story.
The feared names such as Chris Gayle, Andrew Russell, Edwin Lewis, Lionel Simmons and Dwayne Bravo are out. But Powell, speaking at Thursday's virtual presser, said it is a perfect opportunity for fresh faces to do the job and make a name for themselves.
If you should look on the depth of the team, I think it's a very good and a very strong team as it regards power hitting, with the exception, with those guys being missing. But what that does, those guys being missing, what that does is that it provides an opportunity. It provides an opportunity for us as younger players, just before the World Cup, just before the start of Cricket 2021, to put our best foot forward, and put good performance in places, and hopefully that will carry us in good stead.
Head coach Phil Simmons stated this tour provides such a platform for the early edition of World T20 spots. West Indies have played 4 T20 international series in New Zealand, losing 3 and drawing the other 1-1 on the tour in 2008. Overall, they have won only 1 of 8 T20 games in New Zealand.
This squad can turn it around. New Zealand hasn't been a easy place, not just for us, but other overseas team to tour. But if you look on the strength and the depth of the squad, I think it's a pretty good one. The captain and the coach has stressed on us playing the brand of cricket that we want to play leading up to the World Cup, and all the guys have buy into that brand of cricket, and I think it will bear fruit.
The 27-year-old who captained Jamaica Tallows in this year's Caribbean Premier League had a forgettable tournament. He averaged just under 12 with the bat and had a strike rate of under 87 for the 106 runs he made in 11 matches. He also produced one of the most expensive spells during the season with none to 48 from 4 overs with his medium pace. Eyebrows were raised when Powell and his fellow countryman, O'Shane Thomas, retained their spots in the West Indies T20 squad following the lackluster performances in the CPL. Responding to a question from Newsroom Sport on the importance of this tour for a return to form, he said it is high priority.
Yeah, definitely. It's an important tour, not just to the West Indies team, but also for me. You mentioned not scoring a lot of runs in CPL. That is behind me. It was a difficult competition for me, but, brighter things now. I have 3 T20 games here that I'm looking forward to. So hopefully I can put my best foot forward with quality training sessions leading up to this game.
Assessing more of the need for personal development, he indicated he wants to improve on his speed to become a more cutting-edge international all-rounder. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
And that's the news. Thanks so much for watching, and on behalf of our production team, pleasant viewing.